like you touched on, ad costs have gone up, targeting has changed, visibility has changed, the platforms are hiding more stuff from us, the style of creative has changed. I mean, literally the whole landscape changes every 6 months.
What's up, ecom hackers? If you are losing money on your paid advertising right now, especially Facebook ads, right? And or you're thinking about running ads in the near future, you need to stop. And you definitely need to watch this video from start to finish because the way to run ads has completely changed in the year 2024. Luckily, I've got $1 million media buyer Mason here from Ascendant Media, here to break down some of the new ways to run ads on Facebook in 2024 to help you get better results, cheaper CPAs, and a higher return on your ad spend when these other folks are out here losing their shirts, right? So, Mason, before we dive into these juicy secrets, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and you know your experience with e-commerce media buying.
Absolutely. Hey, and thanks so much for having me. Pumped to be here, pumped to be sharing with the group. But yeah, so my story, I've been in paid media, digital advertising, performance marketing, whatever you want to call it, for about 15 years now. I currently own my own agency. We specialize in marketing, just paid ads, email, SMS, and conversion rate optimization. We like the type of marketing that makes money, the math and science side of marketing.
Know
The
it.
creative side's great, but we let the people that are the best at that do that. Prior to having my own agency, I was the head of marketing for Stax Payments. They're the first ever $1 billion tech unicorn to ever come out of Orlando. I took them from $1 million in ARR to 100 million in ARR and $1 billion exit in 4 years. And then before that, I was head of paid ads for Disney World. So I managed about a 20 to $30 million annual budget, $300 million in revenue when I started. When I left, that portfolio was doing $600 million in revenue just 2 years later. So I've done this from little tiny pre-revenue startup all the way up to Fortune 500, hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue types of accounts. So literally done it at every single level, seen a bunch of different types of accounts over the years. I've also invested in 6 different e-commerce companies myself and own a couple of e-commerce brands as well.
When we share stuff like this with you, it's not to brag, it's so that you guys understand that we live this life every day. We know what it's like to come from the bottom. We know what it's like to operate at high levels. And when we try to share this stuff with you, the ecom hackers, it's so that way you can leverage the things that we have learned to help yourself work smarter versus harder, right? Which brings us to the big problem that a lot of folks are running into, especially those watching, YouTube videos about, $5 Facebook ads and stuff like that. That was all the rage, pre 2021, right? So most folks running ads, especially on Facebook, are experiencing higher costs, right? It's not as easy to run ads on Facebook as it used to be, where just about anybody could throw up a picture, show up in the feed, and now they're getting sales on a regular basis. So why do you what has changed so much and why is it just throwing things off so bad?
Oh man, besides everything. I mean, like you touched on, ad costs have gone up, targeting has changed, visibility has changed, the platforms are hiding more stuff from us, the style of creative has changed. I mean, literally the whole landscape changes every 6 months. So I mean, man, it'd be easier to list what hasn't changed, which is that we're still using Facebook and Google. Those are kind of the big two. Now, granted, TikTok's coming up, but those are still the big two. I'd say that's really the only constant.
Yeah. Yeah, again, things are constantly changing. And I remember what things were like before the iOS changes, when
Mhm.
these platforms just had all the data on folks. And again, it was just so easy to get your targeting laser focused, right? You type in the right thing, you get zeroed in on
Mhm.
the right person, and you can show them pretty much anything. And these platforms already know they're going to respond accordingly. But That's not really the case anymore. They don't have as much data on folks, which kind of leads us to your first secret when it comes to profitable Facebook ads in 2024. So Mason, go ahead and hit us. What is secret number one?
So the first secret, I want to touch on targeting. And the secret here is the targeting is no longer found in the targeting section of Facebook Ads Manager. Like, don't get me wrong, you've still got interest targeting and retargeting and stuff like that. But the most successful form of campaign right now is the Advantage Plus campaign. That's AI-based targeting. There's no targeting in it. But you, as the ads manager, as the media buyer, still have the ability to target, and you do that through your creative. So it used to be, you did a lot of audience testing and you could have 20 different audiences in an ad account. Now it's less and less audiences, and you're letting the creative find your target audience. And so you got to make sure that your creative is speaking to your target audience and really calling them out. I'll literally put it in the headline of my ads, are you XYZ person with this problem, or whatever the case may be, so that's who that ad's going to resonate with. And so Facebook's basically going to take your ad now and just show it to the segments of the entire world, and they're going to see who responds to it. And then
Mm.
that's how Facebook is going to decide who to target. So you better make sure that your messaging and your go to market and your like ICP, that you've got that really well defined in advance of running an ad. Because if it's not, then Facebook's going to send, your ad all over the place. You're not going to be on target. So really, again, bringing it all back, the way that you target now is making your ad speak very specifically to your ideal customer, because targeting has basically gone away. Even if you do the old school targeting and you actually pick your targeting, and let's say you got an audience of 1 million people, Facebook's only going to show that ad to like 50,000 people within that million. And it's going to pick that 50,000 based on what's in the ad. So even if I say I want to target these 1 million people, Facebook's not going to show that ad to those 1 million people. It's all going to come down to the contents of the ad. So targeting more or less is dead. You target by how you set your creative up now, and your copy and your image.
That is a big change from
Mm-hmm.
how things were before. Because, back in my day, you could roll out and you were aiming for audiences, in the low millions, right? Laser targeted, exclude this, include that, right? Get really down into the trenches. And now, because again, they have less data, their algorithm is better. It sounds like you mentioned, you're letting your creatives and your hooks speak out to people. So it's less about how laser defined your audience is and more about what is being presented to them in the feed. Kind of sounds like radio or even TV ads where you're speaking to many, but there's only certain folks that it's going to resonate with.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's almost like you're starting with a radio and TV approach, right? The ads getting shown to everybody, and then based on who responds, like then it sort of becomes digital, and then Facebook is going to target it back down once it sees who responds. But yeah, it starts out as a shotgun blast, so you better make sure that you're resonating with the right people, of the mass market. Otherwise, your ads are going to end up off target.